I was feeling my issues coming through as melodies, as lyrics. That's how. So when a person would be prescribed antidepressants for feeling depressed, or maybe for homesick or anxiety, I chose the route of expressing myself through music.
Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. Hey everyone, it's James. On this episode, I speak with reggae artist Clatta Bumboo. In our conversation, we cover what music meant for him as he was growing up in Jamaica, how Foundation Mondays at the Parlour impacted and inspired his career, and what he's looking for Rhode Islanders to do to better understand the importance of reggae music. We also get a little tip into what Clatta has on the horizon to pull our music community together in the future. Thanks so much for pressing play and checking this out. If you enjoy, please tell a friend and leave a rating or review wherever you're listening right now. And follow Where the Living Room Used to Be on Facebook and Instagram, as I'll be sharing some flyers, show photos, and more from Clatta's time in music.
Yes, man. I am from Western Jamaica, the parish of Westmoreland, to be exact.
Okay.
And so I was born in the capital town, Savannah Lamar, and grew up in a small mountain village called Moreland Hill. That's where I hail from. That's where I call home.
And what was it like for you growing up?
Well, Moreland Hill started as a community on the outskirts of a homestead, which planted sugarcane, reared cattle, and other local staple. It was run by the Whitelack family. My understanding that Moreland Hill Plantation Farm, homestead, however they want to call it, was the last operating farm up until like 1987.
Oh wow! Okay.
So my understanding is that my family line came to Moreland Hill because of farming. My great grandfather, my great grandfather Selvin Henriquez, his dad was a supervisor on that farm, and my great grandfather took on the role, and then my grandfather took on the role. And when the farm closed in the early 80s, I want to say like about 81, 82, my grandfather branched off and did his own thing. And so I grew up on the edge of a plantation.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Fun, pure fun. Like not city, nothing city about it. It's
all right.
Running through the bushes to get what you need to eat. Mangoes, soursop, naseberry, you name it. The plantation had give credit where credit is due. The Whitelack family did ensure that there are fruit trees running the full length. Anywhere there's a road, there was a fruit tree. So varieties of mangoes, so big fun.
You just grab some stuff and
yes, sir.
Yeah. Cool. And how did music come into your life? Was it part of it? I mean, in that upbringing?
So, as it is in the South or anywhere there was labor, Afrocentrism, you sing for the work to be lighter.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So everybody who I knew who worked the sugarcane fields or who tend cattle, or they were always singing. That was like people entertain themselves, or there's a great saying: you sing to make the work lighter. And then church is a big part of a plantation living too.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Christian faith. My grandfather built and owned his own church, so I had singing duties.
Yeah.
Sunday school.
That was the first time you sang was in church.
Church. So I would say the first time I really sang is walking distance to get from point A to point B, you know, my great grandmother hummed, so I hum along. You know, so music is a part of my DNA. Yeah, I can say that safely. It's what we did.
And what were the
Singing
songs? Like, were there certain
gospel classics?
Okay.
Nearer my Lord to Thee.
Yeah.
You know, just simple phrases about the day's ending. You know, now the day is over, night is dry, night, shadows of the evening, you know, sneak across the sky, you know. We have to do it, we have to get up and do it tomorrow again. So it's comforting melodies to comfort you during your work day and on the walk home, you know. So yeah, it's so I couldn't say there were specific songs or there wasn't like a hymnal, but music is a significant part of plantation living or community living. Everybody sings, you know. Yeah.
And you know, with that, when did you start performing? Like, did you like, I guess, what was the music that was around you? Like, were you traveling into?
So the music that was around me was these are some very interesting questions. Like, you're really drawing me back. Music. I started performing Sunday school. So the Sunday school teacher was responsible for the opening act, so to speak, for what the church would call the annual harvest festival. So this is how the church would raise funds. So all the farmers, all the local farmers would contribute. So this is when I was like maybe about 5, 6, I can remember. So the contributing farmers would bring in their produce and donate it to the church. The church will then sell it at this harvest, this grand gathering. And as a member of the Sunday school, I would have to go up and perform as a group, not as a solo, but as a group. So that would be my earliest recall of performing in public or performing for entertainment then. So maybe about 4.5, 5 Sunday school.
That's amazing.
That's cool. Good stuff.
Dig it. So when did reggae come into your life? I mean, obviously it is a huge part of Jamaican culture and, you know, Rastafari and everything like that.
So I was born in 1977. Bob Marley died in 1981. So by the time the 80s rolled around, you know, we had JBC's Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation, and then you had Radio Jamaica. So there were like 2 major radio stations in Jamaica. I can remember clearly that they broadcasted Bob Marley's funeral.
Oh wow!
And then reggae music then became, for me, I cannot speak for anybody else, but reggae music then became a mainstay because, you know, everybody was playing Marley. The radio was playing it, so the community plays loud music. If you go to Jamaica now on a Sunday morning, you'll hear, you know, how unapologetic neighbors are to others. Like, this person is blasting Celine Dion, that person is blasting Luther Vandross, the other person is blasting Peter Tosh. So that's how it goes. So I would say when Bob Marley passed, reggae music became more of a staple for me because that's what the radios were playing. And then Dennis Brown took the reins as the Prince of Reggae then. You know, Black Uhuru, King Jammy had started to put out a lot of good music then. So early 80s, I want to say 81, 82, reggae music became a big part of what I listened to.
And like, what did it mean? Was it just the music, or were you connecting with the message at that time? I mean, you were very young, but you know, obviously, like reggae has its important, you know.
By 1990 rolled around, I was getting ready for high school, and we go back to JBC. So JBC is Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation. They had a radio station called JBC Radio 2, and Radio 2 focused on American popular music, to top 40.
Mm-hmm.
I learned English listening to R&B.
Oh, okay.
So Radio 2 would play R&B. There's a program called Float On. They would start like at 10 a.m. and they go till 2 o'clock, 10 till 2. And around that, it was reggae. So radio was the only entertainment then too. So was I digging the message? No, I cannot say I was into the message. I was into the entertainment factor, the fact that I could walk up the street and go to the local dances, and I would be able to dance to what they were playing. I sang the lyrics word for word, but not digging it to the point of, oh, this is deep and I'm going to become Rasta. Not at that early age.
Yeah.
Not at that early age at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when did that happen then? Or I mean, has that? I mean, from what I understand, it your own message has a lot of that deeper meaning. So
well, I decided to do this interview, so might as well I just be very open. Reggae music became a lifesaver for me when I moved to the United States in, I want to say 2005, when I first came here and decided I was going to stay here. That's when it became a bolstering factor for well-being. That's when I moved to Rhode Island. Before that, between 1996 and I want to say 2003, I was an entertainment coordinator starting in 1996, and I worked my way up to entertainment manager until I resigned to move to Rhode Island. So I worked all-inclusive hotels. So reggae, I managed reggae music for a long time. I managed bands. Yep. I worked closely with bands. I organized bands. I organized Christmas events. Like all the major holidays in the United States of America, we in order to take care of the tourists, we would set up events around those. So reggae. So my responsibility was to make sure that the people who came from the first world was actually participating and getting a chance to indulge in Jamaican culture. So for me, reggae was a responsibility.
Yeah.
So instead of playing, let's say, Mariah Carey's banging Christmas album in the property, I would play like a Dennis Brown reggae Christmas. So I was responsible for curating the music and making sure that the people were getting a taste of Jamaica. So between 1996 and 2004, reggae was a responsibility. When I moved to Rhode Island in 2005, when I first came to Rhode Island in 2005, reggae then became a savior. Coming from having a Jamaican background, doctors aren't a big thing. Talk therapy is not a big thing. Talking about illnesses are feelings, or illnesses around feelings. So mental conditions. It's not something that the culture, discuss. It's very, people are very secretive about that in my culture. And I am a guilty party in that. I leaned into reggae music as a means of, one, coping with the winter. I was able to lock myself in a section of the house and put on a headset, put on a pair of headsets and say, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to fuel my soul. And by the time I went to college here, I was listening to Stephen Marley, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh on the way back and forth to school, and it dawned on me that here's an outlet. I was feeling my issues coming through as melodies, as lyrics. That's how. So when a person would be prescribed antidepressants for feeling depressed, or maybe for homesick or anxiety, I chose the route of expressing myself through music. And anyone who's listened to like a project, Catalysis, Miles Deep in the Attic, you listen to that project and you can tell that this guy has some issues, or had some issues, or continue to have issues, however you want to interpret it. But it is part and parcel why my music sounds pure, or sounds like it's coming from a deeper place, or Yeah, I sing about stuff that I know, or the stuff that affects me, or the stuff that I need to work out or work on.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, 2005 is when reggae music became my antidote.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2005.
Wow, that's incredible. And with that, like, what brought you specifically to Rhode Island?
I met a foolish white girl in Jamaica and
all right.
decided to move to Rhode Island.
And then in true Rhode Island fashion, no one ever leaves.
No one ever leaves.
No one ever leaves Rhode Island once you get.
And you know, hey, Rhode Island, I can say confidently, I love Rhode Island.
Oh, as do I. Yeah, yeah.
And many reasons, but one in particular, I feel a kinship to this place. Like it, you talk about North Atlantic slave trade, and you talk about all the stuff that happened, with that period. I feel like I came through here. Like I came through here. When I walk down to India Point Park, when I go to Cranston, like, I live in Pawtucket now, and walking Blackstone Boulevard, most people are fascinated by the quote unquote affluence around the space. No, I am more into the energy of the space. I feel like I came through here. So
that's right.
If I'm to leave Rhode Island, I'm going back to Jamaica. I'm not gonna go to anywhere else in the United States. Rhode Island feels like Jamaica in a sense too. It's small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then with your music career here, like, when did you start creating that? Like, where you perform? I mean, obviously you have your band now and everything like that, but when did
intrinsic to my move to recording and publishing, the Parlour on North Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
That venue, I hold that venue dear to my heart. 2005, 2006, after there was a massive snowstorm in 2006. I don't know if you remember when the school bus got stuck on the highway and it was a massive snowstorm. I was thinking about going home, and a virgin of mine called me up and he said, "There's reggae music down at the Parlour, we should go check it out. It's a Monday night." And I did that, and immediately I found a home outside of the place I lived. So I would go to the Parlour every Monday night. It doesn't matter what's happening in the day. It was a place to go. I would see regular people. The musicians were open to people going on the stage, and that's when I decided I was going to start recording. And Parlour. The Parlour is where it all started for me.
That's cool. And who were you playing with at that time?
So I was writing. Oh man, everything happened so quickly. So I was writing a lot when I was in school, because I went to CCRI to do an associate's degree program for therapeutic massage, which is what I do for my 9 to 5. And I was writing a lot of lyrics. I was writing a lot of songs, structuring songs. I went to class to learn how to structure songs and all that. And I was reaching out to a lot of big name Jamaican artists, local artists here to say, okay, I have this stuff. I have demos. Check it out. What do you think? Would you sing this? And everybody would say, no, you should sing it yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
When I started to go into the Parlour in like about 2006, the Foundation Monday, it's open. It's open to anybody who want to participate. There was a guest mic at the Parlour. So that guest mic, I would go up there and I would just like open up my vocal, just like let it rip for 4.5 minutes, and then come off and the room would be silent. And I'm like, okay, I think I have something here,
Yeah.
So it's the Parlour. I give a lot of credit and send out a lot of gratitude to Gregory. I see what he's done with that place. I see what the pandemic has done to him and his family, the extended family. You know,
Mm-hmm.
all the people who get a chance to go to the parlor and use that space. Yeah, man, I do hope that Rhode Island would see it for what it is and go out and support that spot. You know, not just to have a drink, but to go enjoy the music and, you know, go into that space and put energy in that space, because that space has helped me to direct my music. You know, it has helped. It's a vocal gym, so to speak. You know, you can go there and express yourself on a Monday night, you know, with a live band, with musicians who are open to you jumping on stage and work something out, you know?
Yeah.
So Jinjab, who is the bass player in Natural Elements, integral part of my development as a singer-songwriter in Rhode Island. OC, the drummer, when I just started, he was very open and willing to help. Becky Bass, amazing personality, singer-songwriter, musician, actor, you name it. She helped greatly. When I decided I wanted to go out and perform, Gregory was the first person to say, "Okay, I'll play the guitar and I'll bring the equipment you need. Well, let's go."
That
you
rolls,
know, so and then Mario Odebashian, you know, play the keyboard there. What a genius! I don't know. I know this is on record. I don't know if he knows he's a genius, but yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's a raw genius. Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of OC and
man.
Man.
So these people, and just to name a few, you know, Brian Cabral is the sound engineer there. Young Brian Cabral in 2006, 2007. He was really open to allow me to say to him, "Hey, give me some saturation on my vocals, make me sound good. Can you turn me up a little bit more?" You know.
Yeah.
And I owe a lot to those guys, man. You know, Natural Elements, the sound engineers around Natural Elements. Yeah. The Parlour. I owe a lot to that place. Yeah, man. That's my spot.
Some come by train, oh, some come by boats, Parlour, and some by plane. Oh, some come to teach, some come to learn. Hey, some of them come to rob, rape, and plunder, and before they leave they burn. Hey, oh, Rastafari just said it. Yes,
But yeah, I mean, with that, like, when did Roots Government start? Like, when did you pull that group together and start recording? I mean, from my research, it was 2019-ish or so. But
so I'm sure you're familiar with the reggae revival. So that would be Chronic's protege, Janine, Jesse Royal, Kabaka Pyramid. You know, they kind of hit the circuit, the global circuit in 2013. I read an article that Chronix had refused to go out on the road without his own band. So he had Zinc Fence, and then you had like Kabaka Pyramid had Bebe Rock, or still has Bebe Rock. Protege has Indignation. So the point is, all these fresh crop of reggae musicians, just looking on how they approach. Janine had dub treatment, you know, and I looked into it to say, okay, here are my songs. This is what they sound like. I'm in Rhode Island. If I'm going to champion reggae, I need to go full house. Clatta Bumboo and Roots Government are the names, the names that make up the unit. Clatta Bumboo, me, the lead singer, songwriter, the proprietor of the whole thing. Roots Government is an ensemble of reggae musicians. So I started, from inception, when I decided I was going to record, when I did the Future Water EP, which I started recording in 2016, when I decided I was going to record that project, I started that project. I knew I needed a band
Mm-hmm.
to support me, and a named band, a standalone band, that could play without me even being on stage,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So that's where Roots Government came in. So we played PVD Fest in 2018.
Okay.
And we played the City Hall stage. And when we got that nod, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna start off the right way.
Yeah.
My band will have a name, and my band will have the best reggae musicians I can put my hand on, and who was willing to work with me. And so that's how it started. So Clatta Bumboo and Roots Government is from inception. Once I decided I was going to record, that's so 2016, the concept of Roots Government came on board, and we started playing together 2018 up until this point. And we'll always be Roots Government.
And who are the members of the bands? You shout them out.
So shout out to bass player Jinjab. This guy don't get enough credit, man. This guy don't get enough recognition and love, in Rhode Island.
I'll say I love him, but yes,
this guy, man. This man is. They call him Dad in the parlor. They call him Dad. I'm getting these people talking about this guy. This guy is amazing, man. Amazing. I just hope he knows this. I just hope he knows how amazing he is. So Jinjab is the bass player, and he started out as a bass player, musical director for Roots Government. And then he was the only mainstay with me. From time to time we'll get Kalu Montero. He runs 10 Rocks and has been a rhythm section with Jinjab for many years. They played together since they were 15. So Kalu would play with us from time to time, and then Gregory would chip in sometimes as a guitarist, and Sean Shizmack. Are you familiar with Sean?
I'm not actually, no.
So Sean is a DJ. He goes by the name of Shizmack, but he crazy guitarist, crazy reggae guitarist. But so initially we would pull from the pool of players in Rhode Island. But then last year, so after the pandemic hit, after the pandemic 2022, I took it up a notch. I actually brought in a Jamaican drummer, Brady Robinson, to bolster Jinjab. And Vern Hill, who I don't know if you're familiar with the name Bear Hill. He's a keyboardist. A guy. He's from St. Croix. But he's a Rhode Islander too. He lives in Rhode Island and plays music in Rhode Island. So
nice.
Those two brothers, Veer and Vern. Mike Dansaru, who plays in the Ravers from South County. And Ray Gennari, who runs Rocktorium Records, and so dear to me. He's one of my producers too. So it's there. Guys, I'm not forgetting you all, but I can go on and on and on and on of all the people who has helped me with Roots Government. But the only mainstay up until now would have been Jinjab as a bass player, and Brady Robinson as my drummer, Ray Gennari as a guitarist, Raymond Stewart, who I bring in from New Jersey. I pull players from all over the Northeast, man. I go as far as New York. I go as far as Philadelphia. I go as far as Florida, actually. So wow. Depending on the run I'm doing, if I have a series of 10 shows, then it's a Rhode Island band, or it's a Rhode Island home-based band, but I try to find players who play nothing for nothing authentic reggae music. Reggae music has a specific feel. It has a specific energy. Not everybody can play reggae time on the hi-hat.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? I mean, it's a very interesting thing to me. As a drummer, but just like listening to reggae, like it's the feel, people can hit it, and if they're like hitting every note, but it's like kind of you want to be a little bit behind, right? And so if you can just talk a little bit about that.
So the pocket, that pocket, that synergy between the drum and bass.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot manufacture it. The drummer could go to Berkeley, or he could go to the Royal School of Music in England,
mm-hmm.
and he will play jazz magically. Funk, oh, he's on time and in there. If he doesn't have suffering in him, if he doesn't know how to express his pain, if he doesn't want to come through from his essence, that's what reggae does. Reggae pull out your pain, like reggae drag you out of your comfort zone. It is so simple, but yet so, if you're not, you have to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be in there.
Yeah, you can't fake that.
You can't fake that. You can't fake that. And you're doing that for as long as the singer wants to sing. Check a band like Midnight, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what it is. It's that feeling of, staying up on it. Reggae have a specific posture for the drummer. Mm-hmm. No slouching. The snare has to be like right there in the root chakra,
in your belly. Yeah,
like right there. So it's like you have to be up on top of it.
Yeah.
And so the feeling, unfortunately, the feeling defines reggae.
Mm-hmm.
And great reggae bands from California, you name them. Great reggae bands from Virginia, great reggae bands from Boston, that feels musicians who are born and raised in the United States. You can go to South County in Rhode Island, and there are great reggae bands down here, but they don't. It's hard for them to play that feel.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from the oppression of a people. It comes from the expression of that oppression without being over the top, boisterous, or disrespectful. It's a way of expressing how one feels from a position of pain, trying to find clarity, trying to move forward, trying to relate, trying to say, yo, you tell me my people aren't good enough, but here I am. This is what I'm doing. This is how I can express myself. And most reggae musicians don't read music. They don't even know. Most reggae musicians cannot tell you what is in the progression, or what key they're playing in.
Yeah.
And it's not to call out the deficits, but it's to say this is what the music is.
Yeah, no, I did that though.
There's a personality there. Reggae has a personality, and as a Jamaican, it's easy for me. The challenge is to find people who to play in roots government to say this is what it is. Don't play that. Don't play that blues note. I don't want to hear that blues note. Just don't add that fill. We don't need that fill. Just stay right there. Stay in the pocket. Just stay right there. Give me that fluffy surface. So as a singer, I can actually stand in it or lay in it. And give me feeling. Move. There's nothing rigid about it. Stop slouching. I look at drummers and say, can you please stop slouching? Sit up. Can you sit up in your spine? Sit on your coccyx, please. Don't lean forward.
Yeah.
So I'm no.
You're gonna yell at me if you ever see me play. You're gonna be like, James, sit up when you play.
So yeah, I think the key, without getting too technical, I think the key to reggae music is to know that it comes from a people suffering, and it comes from a people trying to make right. It comes from a people saying, hey, we got something to offer. It comes from a place of deficits. Listen to the music, man. You can use a drum, a bass, and a keyboardist, and you can go play a stadium. That's reggae.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy, bro. Nothing fancy. Heavy and low and slow.
Yeah.
That's reggae. It's about the feeling. Yeah.
No, that's cool to hear. And Yeah, I'm glad that you talk about that stuff, because I mean, I guess what is your feeling about some of this? Because I mean, I guess we'll say from an outsider's view, like reggae can get really wrapped up in more of it just being a party vibe and more of just like, oh, it's about, smoking weed and just like hanging out.
You are such an agitator, man.
Yeah, hey, I'm sorry, it's a podcast, but
no, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
But I mean, because I mean, it's just so rooted in that, about I mean,
I get
oppression and overcoming that stuff and pulling people together in that message, So
I get emotional about it because, and I'm going to speak to Rhode Island. This is a Rhode Island podcast, and we're talking about Rhode Island life and Rhode Island music. Mm-hmm. I really and truly wish that Rhode Island musicians would have taken reggae music a little bit more seriously.
Okay.
And understand the work reggae musicians have done for liberty.
Okay. What do you mean by that? Yeah.
For the liberation of, example, we won't belabor this too much. We'll make the point and move on. You think of the apartheid movement in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and listen to, people should go back and listen to all the reggae music that were created in the 1980s from Channel 1, Dynamic Sounds, most of the stuff that Sly and Robbie did. Listen to Peter Tosh and listen to his content and listen to the music. Mm-hmm. This music, Jamaica as a people does not have nationality as an ideal. They have freedom as an ideal. Reggae music is freedom music. So like the and I'm going to tie a lot of things together. The Foundation Monday, reggae is the only genre outside of the open mic that you can just walk in and go on stage, whosoever you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's the essence of the music.
Mm-hmm.
The reggae sound is a liberating sound. The reggae message is a message that calls for liberation and calls for freedom, not just for yourself but for others. Reggae music is politically charged, always have been politically charged.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very global in its nature. In Rhode Island, it so happens that, and it's a pattern that I've noticed, every guy feels that he can just like put his bodies together and go on a stage and call it reggae.
Yeah.
He walks in the room, and this is a Rhode Island issue, and I want to talk about it here. Now that I have the opportunity. It hurts me to the core to walk into a space where there's reggae, quote unquote reggae music, and the drummer is playing a New Orleans kit.
Mm-hmm.
One snare, one kick, and a hi-hat, and he's dropping all night. The tom, when a reggae drummer goes right, it's to bring the thunder across. It's to bring the hurt from the core of his body across. Because normally the reggae drummer don't lose the groove because he's supporting. But when he goes right, and when he goes far right, it's
hit the floor tom. Yeah.
Oh man, the colors matter. The colors matter. When a person call Clatta Bumboo and Roots Government and they say, hey, we want a reggae band, I'm like, okay, what's your event? And I say, oh, it's a kids party. And I'm like, have you listened to the music? It's on Spotify. They're like, oh, well, we need a reggae band. I'm like, before we go any further, I'm going to send you a link and you listen to the music and tell me if this is fit for a kids party.
Yeah.
Reggae music is a summer sound in Rhode Island. Break the Chains from a Clatta Bumboo EP doesn't fit in a summer party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Peter Tosh, Legalize It doesn't fit at a kids party. But think of the depth in those two tunes I just called, Break the Chains and Legalize It. Legalize It speaks about a section of Jamaica that was oppressed just for smoking marijuana.
Mm-hmm. Break
the Chain speak of a young man moving from Jamaica to come to Rhode Island and is suffering because he didn't have his father around. Mm-hmm. It's reggae music is a fun-loving music, but it should be taken a little bit more seriously for what it brings to the table, which is helping people to find a way forward. It's liberation, show up. Rhode Island Philharmonica doesn't show up one less one less one less string, one less violinist. They don't. And everybody have to be rehearsed and everybody have to be on point. Reggae music deserves that. It's world sound. It's revolutionary sound. It's freedom sound, you know? So I wish in this state, musicians would go learn the rudiments of reggae drums, would go learn the classic bass lines, go understand where the bang fits, you know, learn the purpose of the bubble, you know. Why do we have a kete drum and not a djembe, you know? You know, why we don't have strings but we have horns, you know? I wish this, and that's the purpose of roots government too, is to bring that to the fore, to say here's what reggae sounds like in Jamaica on the beach.
Yeah.
You know, here's what reggae sounds like in Madison Square Gardens. Here's what reggae sounds like. This is what reggae should sound like all the time. Anybody who walks in the room where a reggae band is, it should be at a resting heart rate, and it's pumping a frequency that is going to center the person and bring them to a point of reflection or just calm. I think that's what it should do.
Who's to say what's right from wrong? Who's to judge? And who's to say if this curse shall carry on? Will history shape and help to build that bond with me and my own? Can we do better? Hey, I was told he was a great guy. Same is said about me. Will I be the difference? We'll wait and see. Oh, how I pray and wish for one chance to know him. Oh, how I begged for a shift, but change was not forthcoming. Got to live to strive to break the mold, rule my destiny every day. For sake of my own, I've got to break the chains.
Can you go over some of the recordings that you've done, and maybe even just talk a little bit about working with Ray, working with Jim, you know, who are the engineers that you've been doing these tracks with? But yeah,
So
let's cover some of your music.
I will start with Jinjab. Jinjab is a standalone engineer. He plays all the instruments you would need for a reggae track. And I will talk about the Future Water EP. Future Water EP has seven tracks, and I'll talk about the final one, Free Free. Free Free. What Jinjab was supposed to go to Europe, and when he got to the airport, the tickets weren't there. He had to drive back from Boston, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here chilling." He said, "Okay, come to the studio. I think we have something." And I went there, and we wrote Free Free that night. And Free Free to me is the ultimate freedom song. It covers all the goes right across the spectrum, and it's a true reggae track. The EP itself was a coming out, and it touches on the different flavors of reggae. Youths of today spoke up, encourages young children, and even though it's I worked on it. We worked on it specifically to not just speak to quote unquote black youth. We youth of today. It's a more global sound. Seek direction to your roots. Rise from your slumber. Value life and live in truth. Solid love. That's another track on the EP. Solid love. Everybody, love for everyone. For the kids in the favela in Rio de Janeiro. The garrisons in Kingston Town. I am trying to, on that project, we were trying to be be in the vein of reggae, you know, stick to the essence of reggae, but be more global, and you know, to kind of move away from not make reggae sounds be focused only on quote unquote black issues or poor man issues, but be a little bit more global, because not because someone lives on the east side and someone lives in Pawtucket, you know, the conditions are similar. We have the similar issues, you know. So that EP was to bring Clatta Bumboo to the fore, and also to set the stage for what we would call Rhode Island reggae. Jinjab was open to working with a budding reggae personality, and he was willing to do the bulk of the work. So he developed the tracks. I wrote for it. I performed on it. He mixed it, and we sent it to Jamaica to master. I did all the artwork on the project, and I launched Black River Sonics, which is my own publishing, to put out that record. When it came to Ray Janari, that's a sweet story. Jinjab tours a lot in the Cape Verdean community. He goes to Europe a lot, and he goes to Cape Verde a lot. And there was a little bit of frustration when we were putting out the Future Water EP, where he was on tour and I couldn't get anything done because he did everything. And I was in the parlor one night, and I asked Mike Dancer, a keyboard player, say, "Hey, do you know a musician that records?" And he says, "Yeah, I know a guy in South County. You should go meet him." And went and saw Ray Janari. Ray Janari gave me We Are Chosen, She's a Rebel, and Baseline. You know? So the relationships that I developed with Jinjab and Ray Janari, it's basically to form that Rhode Island reggae sound. And so far, so good. Ray Janari is a standalone producer, plays all the instruments you need for a reggae track also. He mixes and masters and publish. So, yeah, that's the basis of the relationship. It's like, you know, they do everything, and I'm lucky to have them. And they help to bolster that Rhode Island reggae sound that I am trying to bring to the globe.
No, it's cool. And you've also had some other newer singles, I Devote, you know, things like that.
So Rhode Island story, man. Tony Kidd is a Rhode Island sound engineer. He does Cape Verdean sound engineer. He does a lot of the work in Ten Rocks. I think he has residency at the Met, and he is the road engineer. He's the live engineer for Root Government. He would fill in on keyboards. This amazing musician, amazing producer. I needed to come forward I was looking for a global sound, but still reggae. And I approached Tony Kidd and asked him if he would help me to develop some tracks. I gave him a couple of references, and we went into his studio in the attic at his place in Pawtucket, and we came up with Catalysis Miles Deep in the Attic. So Roots Official, which is the lead track on that project, for Black River Sonics, I needed to do more for Rhode Island. I needed to do more with Rhode Island reggae music, and I realized I couldn't do it on my own. I wanted to get other people involved, so I developed Roots Official, the beat or the music on Roots Official, the title. I developed that and invited other musicians, other singer-songwriters to participate. And that's how I came up with I Devote and, you know, that mini project. Yeah. So cool. In Jamaica, there's something called the juggling, where you have like slinting, the rhythm slinting. Are you familiar with the rhythm slinting?
No.
So in the 1980s, King Jammy's studio put out a rhythm called slinting. And there are probably over 15 artists on the same beat. So it's called a juggling. You know, so I Devote, our track I Devote is a part of a juggling.
Oh, okay.
So you know it can be a continuous play. Different voices, different arrangements, but the better the track remain the same.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Rad. Yeah. And yeah, can you talk about Make Way Rasta, which is the new album?
Make Way Rasta. It has certainly become the elephant in the room. And it is, that project is causing a lot of changes with Clatta Bumboo. It's causing a lot of changes with Bruce government because, to the whole point of, I don't think Rhode Island takes reggae music seriously. Make Way Rasta is a project that it's going to be my first full album. We're looking to have 14 tracks, and it's to show the evolution of the Clatta Bumboo and Roots government sound. I broke away from the one engineer, do it all, head cook, buckle washer approach.
Okay.
And I ran down to Jamaica like a year ago. I did some work with local musicians in a local studio in my home parish. And so I am producing the project, and I have reached out to Jinjab to produce a track, 2 tracks. Reach out to Reginari, he produced 3 tracks. I went to Jamaica and I produced 5 tracks. Reach out to other producers who I know have not dabbled but have done work in reggae. So Make Way Rasta is to lift up the Rhode Island reggae sound and to cement the Rhode Island reggae sound in the upper echelons of reggae.
Yeah.
Not just a Rhode Island thing now. Make Way Rasta is no longer, it's not just a Rhode Island thing. It's a sound that is coming out of Rhode Island, so Rhode Island can be respected for a reggae sound,
Yeah.
Just Make Way Rasta,
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
It's so the idea is to pave, is to make, clear the way and set it and say, yo, this is what the sound can sound like coming from Rhode Island. This is a Rhode Island reggae sound.
Yeah. And yeah, what does that mean to you? I guess like that sound you mean. Like I know that a lot of your music, or you've had it listed of, and it sounds like you've actualized it in a way of respecting the past, looking towards the future. That was kind of things connected to your Future Water. But like, is that an extension of that? With recording in Jamaica, recording here, moving beyond what you're normally doing.
Instead of becoming disappointed with how Rhode Island musicians treat reggae, or how Rhode Island media treat reggae, I decided time to raise the bar on the Catalysis Miles Deep in the Attic. That song, Time to Raise the Bar. I really and truly thought Rhode Island musicians would have listened to that song and take it seriously and take reggae seriously,
Yeah. Okay.
And we can, for your listeners and for anybody who will listen to this in the future, if we reference that track, it's a time to raise the bar, man. Like we need not to use reggae as a medium to sell drinks, but
yeah,
if there's a issue, we live in the United States of America. Rhode Island is no different from the South. It's no different from New York. Black people have problems, major problems. Reggae music is a black sound, and anybody who don't want to see it from that perspective, then they're blind. It deals with those issues more than it deals with anything else. Reggae is not just about ganja, Here is a musician. It's not just about smoking ganja and go on the beach and look at a girl in a bikini. It's a platform where you can actually come and say, my father was depressed. That's the reason why my family was in shambles. Here is the solution. It's the only genre that gives you the opportunity to do that, in my estimation, outside of folk and, so instead of becoming frustrated with the people who I thought would have taken Future Water seriously, I would have taken Catalysis Miles Deep in the Attic seriously, I said, I am going to double my efforts. And I'm going to produce an album from my adopted home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not to say I'm going to give Rhode Island a gift. That's not it.
Yeah,
I am going to produce music, reggae music in Rhode Island that someone can actually say, if it's 20 years from now, someone can say, when Clatta Bumboo lived in Rhode Island, he produced this music. You know, do I want to be accepted in Rhode Island for the reggae music I'm producing? Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind being called a Rhode Island reggae band. I wish people would do that. You know, I wish more Rhode Islanders would take reggae music serious and take the local reggae musicians seriously and help them to bolster a genre that has helped people and will continue to help people. And it's like the easiest genre to break into. You know, I hope Make Way Rasta will have young people playing reggae drums. I do hope that when this project come out, you will have people who play, you know, if it's in fourth or second string in the Rhode Island Philharmonic. I hope they will pick up their violin and decide that they want to play on a reggae track. I do hope the trumpeters, the bassist, all the musicians in Rhode Island, I do hope that when this project come out, they will listen to it and they would say, okay, it's okay for my son to play some reggae drums. I'm going to give him an hour in the basement. Okay, Tommy, go play some reggae drums. You know?
Yeah.
Because we really and truly can't find musicians in Rhode Island who are seriously interested in the sound and interested in the movement of the sound. So that's the idea of that project. To produce a sound in Rhode Island that Rhode Island musician will take reggae music seriously and take Clatta Bumboo and Roots Government seriously. That's the basis of that track, of that album. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want to hear it. I'm with you. And yeah, what are the plans for the release of this stuff? Like how do you have stuff that's close? Do you have a release date set? Or
so I really don't want to throw dates out because you know, again, the Future Water EP, we did a Future Water the other side. Where we selected 7 Rhode Island musicians to play on an instrumental version of that project. And again, I thought it would have been something that Rhode Island media houses would have taken seriously to say, oh, here's a local musician that is using Rhode Island, who's collaborating with local musicians to get that reggae sound palatable to 7 Stars or palatable to Starbucks or, you know, palatable to Whole Foods, you know, but, you know, again, it wasn't taken, I don't think it was taken seriously enough. So what I'm doing right now is we're preparing to launch what we're going to call, and you're the first to hear this, we are preparing to launch what is called the Rhode Island Reggae Summit. We've already under Black River Sonics, we've already signed contracts with the Steelyard. And we're going to, and August 10, oh yeah, that's the date I'm going to put out. Oh, I hope this works out well. Jesus, please let this work out. August 10, 2024, we are going to be launching the first staging of the Rhode Island Reggae Summit. And that, with the Future Water EP, the other side, we are preparing to bring out all those musicians to come and present at that event.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so we're organizing. We're trying to organize everything to drop the album, drop a rubber dub project to support that album, and then start making plans to present it all at the Rhode Island Reggae Summit.
Wow.
So we want to make sure that we're sequencing everything properly. But I can guarantee you that at the end of the summer, you're going to start seeing singles coming from Make Way Rasta. And in the sequence of things, we're hoping that it will all culminate August 10, 2024 at the Steelyard for the Rhode Island Reggae Summit.
That's super exciting. Just, you know, again, just because it has been a little bit of time since you put some music out. So, I mean, it must be pretty exciting just for that, you know, everything that you've been working on, just to have some new music come out.
In a sense, it used to be very exciting to put out music. Yeah, like we're gonna do this and it's gonna do well and blah 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 blah. But you notice the pattern we put out 7 songs, we put out 4, we put out 7, we put out 1, we put out 3, and we put out 1. I think at Black River Sonics, I think we've come up with a good enough approach to put out chunks to it's like, I don't want to use the word dosage, because I think that's how mainstream production houses operate. They try to hit doses. I'm trying to lay a platform. I'm trying to lay a foundation. I'm really not trying. I'm really not trying to be the funky, the popular guy, and that's not my role. That's not my responsibility. That's not my direction. I want to collaborate with local musicians. I want to let local musicians know that reggae music is viable. It's a necessary sound, and it doesn't have to be a summer sound. Therefore, I cannot take the approach of the guy who wants to be popular and who is trying to be popular before he focuses on his responsibility as a musician or as a production publishing house. I'm trying to develop a reggae publishing house in Rhode Island. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get young people interested in the sound. I am hoping that within the next 5 years or so, we can have a reggae band that are a bunch of teenagers. I'm hoping for that. I am really and truly hoping that reggae music will be the sound that bring families out in the respective parks that we have here, and not necessarily at a dive bar taking down a couple of shots before you go on stage and play, or before you actually delve into the sound. I really and truly hope that our work at Black River Sonics, Clatta Bumboo and Roots Government will bring forth a music that is palatable, that is original, that is genre shifting. That's the focus. Collaboration. I'm hoping for collaboration. So that's where I am right now as a musician living in Rhode Island. I'm hoping to collaborate. I'm hoping to have musicians taking reggae seriously. That's the focus right now. So that's and so excited, yes, that we're going to put out sound, but I'm more focused on the responsibility to make sure that the sound is produced properly, mixed, mastered, release dates are set and streamlined. So it's not about dosage. It's about, maintaining what we've done so far and create a big enough, deep enough foundation that people will take reggae music seriously in this state. I think Rhode Island has an opportunity, and I want to be a part of that. That's my focus. Yeah.
Just hearing you, you're just very passionate about that, and having that is just like that is going to lead to that direction,
Oh yeah, it's not fun being me, man. It's not.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'll say it now, but like, I'm here for you. If I can do anything to help amplify anything, that's the least I can do. So please, stay in touch with anything or whatever else,
Yes, man. You're doing it now. You're doing it now. This is the collaboration I asked for. This is the collaboration that I need. Someone who is interested in the sound and is using their platform to help to bring it forward. I listened to your podcast in preparation for this interview, and I hear the conversations, man. And I am happy that there is someone in Rhode Island. Thank you so much. I'm happy that there is someone in Rhode Island who is looking out for Rhode Island and not trying to be Boston and not trying to be New York, because we are so lucky here. The airport is 15 minutes away from any angle. Why aren't we exporting reggae musicians? Why aren't we exporting a reggae band? Why are we watching others do it? Why is Rhode Island not more attractive to the national acts who play reggae? Why doesn't Groundation come here and play? Why doesn't Steven and Ziggy come here more often?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have to pay $60 to go over to Bull Point Park to go see a reggae act? Why I'm serious. Like, why aren't we not doing it?
Here,
why are we not doing it here?
Mm-hmm.
When everybody is 15 minutes away from each other,
mm-hmm.
and everybody has a studio.
Yeah.
So, man. So thank you so much, man, for taking the time to do this, man, to talk to me, man, because it matters.
Yeah. Do you have anything lined up show-wise that you want to shout out where people can check out your live performance?
So right now I've been getting a lot of requests. People have been asking, and I'm asking everyone, please be a little bit patient with us. We are looking on Make Way Rasta. We're looking on how we're going to, get that ready to put out. We are preparing to go into rehearsals now. So we have planned to do some pop-up concerts. Last year we did a lot of pop-up concerts. We went out with full sound and we played in several venues, and we're hoping to do it this year again. Free events, but we have to make sure that everything is right. People can find out what we're doing at Clatta Bumboo, ClattaBumboo.com, or Clatta Bumboo's Facebook page, Clatta on Instagram. Just pay attention, just give some attention to what's going on in the socials, and we'll put it out there. We'll be putting out something soon.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
All right. So just one more question for you, and it's one I always ask at the end. I just would like to know what you'd say is your greatest music accomplishment to this point.
My greatest accomplishment in music thus far is to be called by reggae, and to add to that, I heard the call, and I'm taking the responsibility, and I'm taking it seriously, and I've committed myself to the movement of the reggae sound in Rhode Island, in the Northeast. I've committed to it, and I think that's my greatest achievement. It's not something that I'm doing as a hobby. It's not something that I'm doing off of the fly or because I think it's cool. I think I do see this as a calling, and musicians in this great state, I am begging for you to see the opportunities that we have. Rhode Island has an opportunity to do right by music at large, not just reggae. It's a very small state. It's very talented. Like Rhode Island is solid. Guitarists, people that plays brass instruments, strings, piano, you name it. It's all here. We don't have to be Boston. We don't have to look to New York. They should be coming here to ask us to participate. They should ask us permission to come into our state. Can we participate? But we need to collaborate. We need to get together. We need to get together. We need to get together as artists. We need to get together as people. So my greatest accomplishment, I think, is to see the need for that and is moving toward it.
Yeah. Well, ton of respect for you.
Much respect to you too, man.
Clatta, you're amazing. Thank you. Thank you enough for doing this. So
yes,
thanks for your time.
Yes, man. Thank you so much, man. And I do hope to meet you in person, and I don't know what you do, but we'll have a cup of tea.
Oh yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah, man. Much respect. And thanks again.
Oh, I wish that you were around. So I'm begging you to pray for me. Mama, it's your pain that brought me to life. It's your struggles I reference all the time when I need to hold a fight. More times than not, the belly doesn't get what it needs. Be assured should have learned to sacrifice today, so I may feast another day. Promises were to comfort foes. They told I that the streets were paved in gold. Lies, every step me take, me foot bottom meet concrete. Mama can't find a place to plant no seeds. Mama pray for me, pray for me, pray for me. Oh, Mama pray for me. Oh, your son needs your guidance. Oh, Mama pray for me, pray for me. Mama pray for me, pray for me. Mama pray for me. Oh, I need your prayers. Crannies of this concrete jungle, encountered various creatures of all different colors, all different faces, all different races. Some are so mean, never would I offer little food. Hey, some are so mean, the ones that are awfully rude. These are stormy times, but I'm holding on. It's your courage I look to, Mom, when I need to be brave and strong. Oh, Mama, pray for me, pray for me. Mama, pray for me, pray for me. Mama, pray for me. Oh, your child need your blessings. Oh, Mama, pray for me, pray for me. Mama, pray for me, pray for me. Mama, pray for me. Oh, I need your prayer. When you kneel beside your bed at night, oh, Mama, pray for me. And as you give thanks for the rising sun, oh, Mama, pray for me. And when you pray to break your fast, oh, Mama, pray for me. And when you bless the dinner table, please, oh, remember me.